Welcome to VidaVision. Don't look at me, I don't have a face on yet. Welcome back to VidaVision with me, drag diva Vida LaFierce. Today we are going to show you how I go from this to this. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I don't claim to be perfect at makeup. Not a lot of people are actually perfect with makeup. Practice, as we've covered before, is the biggest weapon in your arsenal. But today I'm going to be showing you one of my basic faces. Not that I'm calling myself basic, because I would never do that. No. So what I'm going to be doing today, first of all, we have to hide the eyebrows. Now, what I start with is this. Excuse the very scabby little bottle. This is Spirit Gum. It is a alcohol and tree sap based glue, which is used for putting prosthetics on in film and theatre, all sorts of stuff, but I use it for my eyebrows. It will last you a long time. This bottle's sort of just over halfway through, and then I go over it with, again, this has had about 3 years. This is Kryolan eyebrow plastic, so you rub this over the glue once it's got a little sticky. I only actually discovered a few nights ago, if you put the Spirit Gum on first, leave it a few minutes to go slightly sticky, then you go over it with this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on and really get it in underneath the hair. Put it on quite thick, and then once we've done that, we'll be right back. Okay, so the glue has started to dry just a little, so I'm going to go in with this eyebrow plastic, which is basically a stick of wax. Some people use Pritt stick or like the purple glue sticks. Again, it's about finding what's right for you. These two products combined, they do not move. So, here we go. Rub first against the hair, so you get really right in there. And then you just sort of start rubbing over and over and over. It'll be quite slippery at first, but then as you go on, it will gradually get stickier and stickier. And you'll notice that the hair stays down. But obviously you do have to go against the hair first to get all that glue and stuff in there. Just make sure that you don't get any of the Spirit Gum on anything, because it really doesn't like to come off. You can supposedly get Spirit Gum remover, but I didn't find it worked. Somebody dribbled some on one of my favourite black tops, and it still, to this day, 3 years later, just looks like someone's got very excited on my boobs. So now that we have smoothed them down, what we're going to do is we're going to take our nude coloured powder, which in my case is MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation in the colour NW10. Using the nice little sponge that comes underneath it, we're just going to go over, not rubbing, but pressing. The shape of women's faces are different to the shape of men's faces, so what you need to do is, for a really dramatic eye, you need to make the eyes bigger. New eyebrows will go on somewhere up here when we're done, and we're going to be shrinking the size of the forehead with contouring, which is what I'm going to show you as soon as I've done foundation. So there's the eyebrows done. To me, this is one of the biggest pains of doing makeup. If I was in drag full time, I would just shave them off. So the next thing you're going to want to do is primer. It makes your foundation apply much better, gives you a nice even layer to apply to. So this is my chosen one. This is Smashbox Photo Finish Minimize Pores in the nice purple tube, like polyfiller for skin. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all apply that over where we've powdered down our brows. And you'll see it looks just a little bit smoother there now. Don't rub it too much or you're going to start loosening those hairs, which is the opposite of what you want to do. But also I find that not every primer will work perfectly with every foundation out there, so you're going to want to sort of trial and error that one. Okay, so cover the face, and don't forget to just sort of rub it down a little. Next thing, this is my holy grail of foundations. This is Kat Von D's Lock-It foundation. First thing I do, now this is a liquid foundation. Some people use stick ones. Again, it's finding what works for you. There is no one definitive way to do makeup. First of all, we're going to put a nice thick layer of that over the eyebrows. And we're just going to leave that set there. I swear they've changed the smell of this foundation as well. The faint whiff of tequila. Could be me. Really enjoy the texture of this foundation. It looks fairly weird when it first goes on, but I'm gonna like rub that everywhere. Again, if you're gonna be wearing a wig, it doesn't really matter about your hairline because no one's gonna see that. One thing when you're putting liquid foundation on, make sure you go right under the eyes and into the corners. Okay, so always keep some cleansing wipes handy. It's always a good idea to get the foundation off your hands before going any further. The other good thing about doing it at this stage is it gives that foundation just a little, few seconds to just set a little, because we're going to be going over it and blending it now with some of the nude powder. Also, don't be like me, clean your brushes regularly. I swear to God, I've cleaned that like 4 times. They do take a lot of cleaning. Also, we'll talk about brushes as I'm doing them. This one is a NYX, or NYX as they're officially pronounced. What I like about NYX is they are in most Boots stores in the UK. They are professional quality makeup, but at an affordable price, which I love them, and I'm a huge fan of their brushes. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to just start applying the powder, just to sort of set this foundation in place. And then we can go on with the rest of the face. So that foundation is now set, it's in place, that's done. So it's kind of a little, that's the powder brush that I used to put that stage on. There is another powder brush that I use later, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Now this one, it looks kind of similar to the powder brush. But this one is a wider, I call it the fat fan. It's like a more pronounced fan shape, but it's also quite chubby. So, like me, not better. So we're gonna start the contouring. Now, as I mentioned before, we are gonna be changing the shape of the face with contouring. Now, darker colors will make things look further away. Lighter colors will make things look closer. So contouring is all about tricking the light to sort of make you look that little bit more sculpted. So it's amazing, like the cheek contouring can give you completely different looks depending on how you do it. The general guideline when you first start is to suck your face in like, and you'll see where that contour should probably go for a basic one. You never stop learning with makeup, it'll always evolve, you'll always get better. So, contouring powder. The lesson I learned very early on was that my contour powder wasn't dark enough. I remember some of the queens that were my early role models asking me what it was I was using, and it was £1 makeup. I'm ashamed. And it was very close to my actual skin tone. It was like 1 or 2 shades darker and quite orange. No matter how much I put on, it didn't really show up, and as soon as you walked out in lights, it would bleach it. So they showed me what I should be using, and they showed me this powder. It was so dark, I was like, it looked like Cadbury's Dairy Milk. And then they pointed out, you're going to blend it out anyway, so it's not going to be that dark, but to get that good sharp cut, that's what you need to do. So this is my contouring powder of choice. This is NARS, wonderful cosmetics brand, and this is dark one. And they name all of their ones after countries as well, which is cute. So you haven't got to worry about like N's, W's and whatever it's with N's. They've got pretty names. So first of all, I'm going to start up here. So we're going to be shrinking the size of this man's forehead. So you sort of fill in up there and up there, and absolutely do go straight across, and then sort of curve it down a little onto the temples. Like I said, this is just one way of doing it. This is my way of doing it. Some people would use a stick foundation at this point. I'm not a great fan of stick foundation. I haven't found one that works for me yet. But I hear MAC have just brought out a range of studio stick foundations, so I'm going to give them a go. Next we're going to go from underneath the ear, and we're going to soften this jawline. So what I tend to do here is my actual jawbone is here. Women would have a much gentler jawline, so I'm cutting off that corner there by adding a fake shadow. So I'm going basically from the bottom of my ear diagonally towards my chin, and then don't forget to blend that down, otherwise you're going to be stripy. And same on the other side. And when we're doing the contouring, it is initially going to look pretty harsh, but we are going to blend that out at the end. So I'm going to grab my other contour brush. This is a Pt1 contour brush, and it has revolutionized my life. It's wonderful. Pt1 was one of the very first celebrity makeup artists. If you don't know, he did everyone's face like back in the 80s and 90s. So, just down the side of my nose, I'm going to shrink that down. It just makes everything look a bit more snatched. So, leave a gap down the middle because we're going to highlight there. Okay, so that trick. So I'm going to start from just about here. I'm going to follow that line there. I tend to curve inwards as well. It just gives it a much nicer shape. It was a bit harsh when I did it perfectly straight, but just curving it inwards really accentuates the cheekbones. And when you're doing this bit, if you do want to blend, you blend upwards. That's the way the shadow would go. We're basically making fake shadows here. So, there we go. You don't have to be too neat at this stage either. If it does tend to look a little faded afterwards, we're going to be adding blush on top of that anyway, so you don't have to worry about this being too dark. Next stage is highlighting. This is one of my favourite products. It's an essential in my arsenal. I'm quite pale, so finding a highlight powder for me is quite difficult, because obviously my nude powder, the NW10, is pretty much the lightest one Max L. So to really get my highlight to pop, another Studio Fix one in the colour Shivering White. This tends to be a Pro only one, so you can get it on the website or you can get it in any Mac Pro store. If you're in the UK, there are only 2 Mac Pro stores, both in London, 5 minutes walk from each other. I do not understand why that is, but yeah, this is an essential. So what I'm going to do first is cheekbones, and this is going to look so messy. Now, what I tend to do is put as much loose white as I can directly under my eyes, because we're going to leave this on while we do eye makeup. So any colour fallout will land on dry powder and hopefully it can be like blown or brushed off. Never try to rub powder if it falls onto your cheek, because you're just going to end up with probably a green or blue smear which is going to mix into your foundation and never go away. So just tapping it on here will leave a nice loose powder. So you want it as dry as possible there. So next I'm going to go straight down the middle of the nose. Some people have more complicated ways of doing it with a cream foundation where they stripe it and then do a dot. This is just what works for me as a nice everyday, you know, my default stage look. So we're also going to go in line with that line, straight down the middle here. And depending on what shape your head is and what shape you're going for, you can round that out there. I've started going more straight diagonally down from here, in line with the top corner of my brow. So it just completely reshapes the face. And also, you know, you're going to want to leave some white here because that's going to highlight your brows. And, you know, who doesn't love a nice highlighted brow? Basically, you're going to end up with a line all the way down, except it doesn't start from the hairline. A little bit on the chin, or one of mine. And then underneath your contour line, you're going to want to go under just like a simple line like that. It just makes that contour really, really pop. Okay, so yes, I look like I've just landed in flour, but that is your basic contour. So, yeah, I look ridiculous right now. You will, but this is the point where no one's going to see you, so that's okay. Who cares? We're gonna leave this on for a few minutes to bake. It just ties everything together. Everything is settled. It's all fine. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the eyes. So, stay tuned. Join us for our eyes. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay Vidalicious.